Welcome to Fun and Games Side Quests. Every episode is a different host sharing a video game they love and why they love it.
Hello, Side Quest. My name is Mark Kleeb, and I am a co-owner of Wonderville, an arcade bar located in Brooklyn, New York. And I'm here to talk about one of my favorite games, UFO 50. This might be cheating a little bit because UFO 50 is actually 50 games. It was published in late 2024 by Mossmouth, a team of developers better known for Spelunky and Downwell, amongst other games. And the package presents itself as a collection of games published by a fictional company, UFO Soft, for fictional hardware, the LX1, 2, and 3, published between 1982 and 1989. So it's sort of like a love letter to the 80s arcades, also kind of reminiscent of these packages of software where you can play through 50 to 100 games. And what I will say is, unlike some of those more recent packages, all the games in UFO 50 are great. And I might not have time to go through all of them, but I'll just kind of talk through some of my favorites. One of the best things about UFO 50 is that you can sort of just play each game a little bit, see if you like it, and then bounce off of it and go to other games. And I think all of them have a rewarding system for playtime, where some of them might seem very obtuse at first, but the more time you put in, the more rewarded you are. All of the games have tiers for trophies. So there is a gold trophy for beating the game in a standard way, and a cherry trophy that is sort of a 100% completion or some other win condition. There's also a little house with a little character where you can accumulate gifts for the house by completing a random task in each game, which is usually, completing the first level or a small amount of playtime. So the house gifts are the easiest to attain. There are games that are super short. There is a kind of a racing game called the Big Bell Race that is 8 rounds of sort of Mario Kart racing where you are a UFO flying around a course. And you can finish that game pretty quickly. There's also a game called Grimstone, which is sort of a Final Fantasy III-esque RPG, but Western style atmosphere. And that game to complete is around 20 hours. So there is really a gamut of games here. Grimstone is not the only RPG. There is another RPG called Divers, where you're swimming around in a very kind of creepy, ominous world, and you're returning to the surface often to regain your health and go to the shop. The first game on the list is called Barbuda, and Barbuda has maybe one of my favorite jokes in the entire collection, which is as soon as you start walking to the right, you're crushed by a brick. And I think it implies what you're in for with this collection, where you sort of don't know what to expect. And the games maybe aren't immediately welcoming until you put some time in to kind of like walk around and see actually what you're supposed to do. There are a few collections of games. The first is Campanella. Campanella is a game where you fly as a UFO, the same UFO from the Big Bell Race. And there's sort of an obstacle course where you are getting from one end to the other. And there are 4 stages of levels that get increasingly more difficult. Campanella 2 is a sequel to Campanella where something like Spelunky, it's a roguelike where you fly around with the UFO collecting things, and then you enter like a side-scrolling platformer where you are out of the UFO and you have a gun and you're shooting enemies, and that repeats until the end of the game. And then Campanella 3 is a kind of a Star Fox kind of first-person game where you can fire into the screen as you fly forward, but then when the enemies get close enough, you can fire laterally, which brings like an interesting dimension to the game. In addition to the Campanella series, there is the Mortal series. Mortal 1, you've got an airship full of kind of expendable lemming-like soldiers. And when you're using them, they can jump, kind of like a platforming game, but they can also turn to stone and destroy spikes below them or be a stepping stone for a future soldier. They can also fly like an arrow and create a platform for you to jump up on. They can also explode. And so the goal is to get to the end of the level without expending all of your soldiers. And you could, of course, gain more soldiers by creating combo kills with enemies or picking up extra lives along the way. Mortal 2, the sequel to that, you start with 100 soldiers, and when you spawn, you can choose between what kind of soldier you want. There's a ninja, there's a gunner, there is a bomber, there's an engineer, and you have this gigantic level where the goal is to unlock the end of the game. And so sort of like you're exploring this map, trying to unlock all of the doors to get to the end game. In addition to these games, it's UFO 50, so the theme of the UFO is prevalent throughout the game. So Pilot, who pilots the UFO, the Campanella ship, has 2 games. One is called Planet Zoldath, which kind of reminds me of the old Atari ET game, where you're wandering around a generative map, talking to aliens, buying upgrades, and ultimately trying to repair your ship so you can exit the game. A little bit of a controversial game in the UFO 50 collection. However, Pilot Quest, which is the other Pilot game, is kind of an idle game where you are kind of at your shipwreck site and you can pay different people to make resources for you. And when you have enough resources, you can explore sort of like a Legend of Zelda-esque map and gather more resources. And the amount of time you're allowed to spend in that map is based on how many resources you have. But similarly, you're looking for ship parts to repair your ship and escape from the level. Let's see, some other games that I think are great. Onion Delivery, which I think is another very controversial game. It's kind of like a top-down Crazy Taxi. You play as Woogie, an alien who is also a delivery driver, delivering onions to different locations. When you first play this game, the car is extremely hard to drive. And so part of learning this game is figuring out how to drive this car and get to all of the different delivery locations. And as you progress in the game, you're delivering to further and further locations in the allotted time. Waldorf's Journey is an interesting one. You play as a walrus, and you're kind of launching yourself forward, and you have like a little bit of flutter time before you have to land on a generative platform. So you don't know kind of what the level looks like, but you're just kind of flying to your right, launching yourself off of every platform to try and get to the end. Minnie and Max is a great game. You play as Minnie, who is trapped in a room with her dog, and you immediately are given the ability to shrink down and explore your bookcase and your plants and flower pots, and you find this magical world where you can gather things and talk to people and discover new things as you explore what is essentially a huge world built out of just shrinking down into places in your room. Let's see. Althazar's Hat. This is a shooter where you are sort of, it's a top-down, you're kind of walking around this world, shooting things and gaining abilities. Really fun, cooperative. So if you have a friend, you can play through it. It's pretty short compared to some of the other games. Night Manor. Night Manor is a point-and-click horror game. This is one of my favorites because there is a jump scare that is really jarring. And I think, even though the graphics are sort of lo-fi, it actually is very, very creepy, and I love the atmosphere. And I would be remiss to not include maybe the fan favorite of the collection, Party House, which is a deck builder where you are throwing a party and you're letting people into your house. And some of the guests are trouble, and you want to maximize the amount of popularity at your party without the cops coming and shutting it down. So there's a little bit of a press your luck mechanic as you are letting more people into the house, trying to accumulate the max popularity. And then as you get more popularity, you could add more guests to your Rolodex. There are so many more games, and I wish I could talk about more. UFO 50 is available on Steam, and it was released on Nintendo Switch in 2025. Check it out. Explore the collection on your own. There are several Discords about it. And the podcast, Secret Lives of Games, formerly known as Eggplant, recently did a year of UFO 50 where they went through and talked about every game in detail for an entire year. So if you want, you can also play this like a book club and listen to each episode as you go. I'm a little bit of a UFO sicko, and I 3D printed a custom LX console where I play the game on my desk. And the plans are available online. So if you have a 3D printer, you can also make your own LX console. Yeah, it's great. There's so much to explore. You can really, you can play every game as much as you want. You can bounce off of them, but it's really a great collection of games. So check it out. If you ever visit Wonderville, we currently have UFO 50 at the bar, so you can also play it here. Yeah, love the game. Thanks so much. Happy gaming.
Do you have a gaming subscription service like Xbox Game Pass or a crazy backlog and don't know what to play next? Well, 1H1D might be for you. Join me, Chris, and my college buddy Tom as we play a random game or a requested game for an hour and decide if it's worth playing past that hour. We go over the good, the bad, and maybe some little tidbits about the development you might not have known. Got 30 minutes? Give us a try, and if you like it, throw us a 5-star review. Try something new. You never know what might be your next favorite game.
CPOV. CertainPOV.com.